There have been a surge of protests sweeping the nation, with several states from the East Coast to the West standing up to fight against the COVID-19 lockdowns that have crippled the nation. But why are people protesting? Doctors have told us that this practice is unsafe, and many protesters are being called selfish, individualistic, or uncaring for the elderly community. And the media has been telling us that they're protesting simply because they need haircuts or they want to go shopping. But is that the truth? A quick search on Google shows us otherwise. If you type in U.S. unemployment numbers related to coronavirus into the search bar, some of the first headlines that pop up share that over 22 million people are unemployed, the coronavirus recession could plunge tens of thousands into poverty, and that coronavirus job losses could total 47 million, hitting a nationwide unemployment rate of 32%. Now, the article that states this by CNBC came out 3 weeks ago, with the U.S. already hitting half of these numbers just last week, with stories still coming out sharing that Americans in some states still can't even apply for unemployment due to overwhelmed servers and phone lines. Or if they were able to file, they still haven't received any unemployment check. Take small business owner Sandra Spire, for example, who shares that she can't work due to this pandemic, and she will most likely be homeless soon. But her story is not uncommon. With lack of money has come the inability for Americans to pay their rent or even buy food. Lines at local food banks across the country have stretched as far as a mile, with people sharing they have waited up to 5 hours in line for food. And stories of Americans going hungry are sweeping across the nation.
You know, I had a lady here yesterday with 4 little kids in the car, and she says, I'm a waitress and I don't have any food.
I'm not going to be able to eat. I'm not going to be able to pay my gas, my electric, my rent, to buy the things that I need to buy on a day-to-day basis just to survive.
Even the smallest thing like going to eat at McDonald's becomes a luxury because you're like, oh, that $10 could buy me cereal for a month or something.
This restaurant is our job. We don't have anything else.
I'm also hoping that this won't last for long, and so that we don't have to lose our job there. Because I don't know what the backup plan is.
We've given out hundreds and hundreds of applications.
Just one day earlier at that same spot outside of Miami, chaos. As crowds of people ignored social distancing, pushing, shoving, and snatching forms, desperate to file.
Everybody out here is risking their lives to get this application.
April 1st, are you going to make a mortgage payment or not?
Good question. We haven't even talked about that.
Stories like this are why Americans are protesting. For the right to get back to work, pay their bills, buy food, save their small businesses, and provide for their families. The media keeps trying to paint these protesters as selfish people whose sole focus is on reopening America. You may have even heard the argument that a human life is worth more than saving the economy. But what the media has been failing to report on is the huge rise in suicide hotline calls that have swept the nation since lockdown began, and the fact that suicide-related deaths spiked during a recession. For example, during the recession from 2007 to 2009, the bleak job market helped spike suicide rates in the United States and Europe, claiming the lives of 10,000. From 2007 to 2009, the unemployment rate went up to 4.5% and led to 10,000 suicides. America under COVID-19 lockdown is projected to reach an unemployment rate of up to 32%. And prescriptions for anti-anxiety medication have already spiked up to 34% since the beginning of this pandemic. And suicide hotlines have seen a huge uptick in calls, with some call centers seeing an increase of up to 300%. And it is these stories, statistics, and testimonials from everyday Americans that highlight the huge divide currently sweeping America. On one side, we have essential workers, or those who are lucky enough to continue working from home, still receiving a paycheck. And on the other side, we have the Americans who are furloughed or laid off, that are struggling to buy food, pay their rent, provide for their children, or even apply for unemployment. So the next time someone asks you why people are protesting, you can send them this video. And if you live in the Texas area and want to make your voice heard, come to the Texas State Capitol this Saturday from 12 to 2 p.m. Central Time for the second You Can't Close America rally. As citizens all over America are arrested for simply being outside, it's now more important than ever for us to make our voices heard. So close your computer screen and come take action in the real world this Saturday in Austin, Texas, 12 to 2 p.m. This has been Savannah Hernandez for Action 7 News.